Hey yo, this is Anastasia Lazerbeam. It's my turn to do the Punchstarter, because, what was it? Punch better than a kick? Sure,
Correct. Very
whatever.
good.
Yeah, even though it doesn't make sense, because if I fucking punch your face or kick your face, I'm sure the kick will hurt more, but whatever. Um, yeah. This time is survival horror games, and you're gonna make me a super awesome one, because there's not any in existence. So, you're gonna make one up.
Hey,
Maybe someone
Resident,
will
Resident
inspired.
Evil is coming back.
That doesn't mean it's gonna be good.
Hey, Zombie U was awesome.
It was, and then it was sucked as zombie.
I wasn't aware they renamed it as Zombie. That sounds
Well,
incredibly
that's the
retarded.
one when it's not on the Wii U.
But that takes away its awesomeness. Anyway.
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah, so I got like a bunch of categories and shit. So let's get on it.
What about The Last of Us?
That is
That's
just
not
shit
survival nor
storytelling.
horror.
And also shit storytelling. So,
That too.
alright. So I just go right into the fucking categories and shit.
You could maybe introduce us first.
Oh yeah. Okay, asshat number 1, James Phoenix. No, they're all good. Okay, so yeah, James Phoenix here. Woo!
Hi.
And Marcus Shadow. Yay!
So, people, you also probably notice we do not have a creator of said show with us today, as Chris the Mole's in the process of, I believe, moving and therefore has no interwebs. So, yeah. But he'll be back with us once his interwebs gets turned on.
Indeed, he may actually show up for Xbox later this evening, but don't hold us to that.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, now you can go ahead, Bew.
Okay. Our first category.
Well, we should probably elaborate for those who might not have read the thing when they clicked on it. The topic is that Marcus Shadow and I have had to create a survival horror video game out of a property that is not a survival horror property in and of itself. Okay.
All right. So, firstly, and this is probably pretty important. How would you create tensions and feelings of fear, despair, kind of anxiety in your game to make it feel like, horror-y?
Pew, are you sure you don't want to start with title of the game, maybe, so you know what the hell we're talking about?
What is that gonna tell me about your game? You can call it Sucks on Dick. I don't give a shit about the title. I just want it to be an actually good game.
There is logic in what she says.
I mean, how many games have awesome titles that are completely shit games? I mean, you can include the title in it, but on titles are like all names in general, relatively pretty, but unnecessary.
Well, my title tells you everything you need to know, but okay.
This sucks on Dick. Darn it! I already spoiled it for myself. Okay.
So what's your first category?
This was like kind of the overall feeling of it. How will you create tension or fear in your game, like to make it feel like survival horror-y. Horror-y. Not horror-y.
Oh yeah, my title tells you that easily. But anyway,
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Want me to go
Let's hear
first?
this awesome title. Sucks on Dick
Jurassic
2, the
Park.
sequel. Okay. Dinosaurs. Okay. That doesn't really tell me how it's gonna be survival horror, since I don't think there's ever been a survival horror. But go ahead.
Have you seen the movie? Have you read the
Yeah,
book?
I have seen the movie.
Should
It's
tell you
raw
how it's gonna be survival
dinosaurs.
horror.
It's like, holy shit,
It's-
we're gonna die. Let's shoot the fucker. But,
Basically, what I came up with is it's basically Dead Space meets Alien Isolation. So, because I loved from Alien Isolation the whole you're running around and the alien could just fucking rape you at any time. So I'm thinking, do that with Jurassic Park, where either the T-Rex or the Raptor could come at you at any time and just instantly kill you.
I mean, it's just Jurassic Park. There's no subtitle or anything. It's just Jurassic Park. I mean,
Yeah, it's based on the first movie.
okay. I mean, I don't know. Like, doesn't it always have like a subtitle or something to
First
like
one is.
distinguish it from to give it like, I don't know, tell you exactly what it is?
Yeah, the first one's about the park. It's the first movie, the first book.
Yeah, but
It's
this would
literally
be an
you're going through the
adaptation
first-
from it. So like, I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever. It's fine. But I'm just saying, most things, usually an adaptation of something would have the like a subtitle just to let you know exactly what you're getting into. But sure, whatever.
Jurassic Park, the movie, the video game. There you go.
Okay, I love your negative 17 points for creativity, but
Well, I mean, I don't know what you expect me to call it. It's literally taking the first
it's
movie
whatever. It's fine.
and making
I'm just saying.
it a survival horror game because at least from when I saw the movie and read the book, yes, I have the book and I've read it multiple times. I'm
It's
like,
just
this would be perfect for like survival horror, especially with what they've done with Isolation. Like that's the first thing I thought of with that. I was like, ooh, that would
it's fun.
freak me
Like
the
I
hell
said,
out if I'm
titles
running
aren't even
around
really.
and then
Judging,
It's like,
judging,
oh.
judging by the lack of originality, why do I get the feeling this is one of those games where it's going to be super advertised and hyped up as Dead Space meets Alien Isolation, and instead it's going to end up with Dead Space meets Colonial Marines?
I was gonna say it's gonna be only Colonial Marines, but sure, it's okay. Like whatever, it doesn't matter about the title. Okay, so how are you gonna create the fear of this? If we got the title, so
Well,
how
first
do
of
you-
all, if you've seen the movie, you'll remember that.
I saw only
when-
the movie of Jurassic World, and I'm not really a fan of dinosaurs in general. So
Okay, well, in
Um,
Jurassic Park, basically what happens is the entire park gets shut down by a douchebag who's trying to make money off of dino DNA. But because the park is shut down, like when you're in the actual facilities, like it's gonna be like very minimal power, if anything at all. So it'll be like all dark. And then also when you're going through like the outside in the park and like the lush jungles and stuff, it was mostly at nighttime in the rain. So you've got cloud cover that if there is
you
any
got the
sunlight
darkness
out there doesn't
element.
get through.
Okay.
Yeah, you get the darkness element, you get the atmosphere, you get the rain, you get the sounds, obviously, because you're in a fucking dinosaur
Okay,
park.
don't. Sounds and music are a whole other category. So just leave that to leave the
Well,
sounds.
you were asking how it would be a survival horror, how you make it
That's
feel like survival horror. That's
I get
part
that
of
you
it.
will have sounds, but don't go too far into it because there's a whole
Okay.
other section of just specifically
Right.
what are you going to use for music, instruments, voice acting, like that whole thing.
Oh,
So just
yeah, that's a whole
something-
other thing. But,
Yeah.
because, I mean,
Just-
again, dinosaur park, so you get that eeriness.
Okay. So darkness and atmosphere. What else?
Yeah, and just the fact that it's going to be very similar to like I said, like Dead Space and Alien Isolation, of you're walking through like facilities and environments that facilitate that fear, just because the fear of you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what's going to come jumping out at you. I mean, in that respect,
Mhm.
dinosaurs, like especially like the T-Rex and the Raptors, which were basically the villains of the first movie, they're a lot like the alien in that regard, of you just don't know when they're going to come at you and they'll instantly kill you. And I think that would add a lot to it. And then, of course, on the survival part of the survival horror, it's going to be a lot of the gameplay elements, which I'm not going to go too much into because I'm assuming you have a gameplay
Yeah.
but
something like that.
it's going to be very much in the vein of Alien Isolation. It's going to focus more on your equipment and your gear as opposed to weaponry.
You just said equipment and gear; those are the same thing. Anyway,
Well, gear as in like what you're wearing, equipment as in like what you're carrying with you. But you're going to have weapons. Obviously, there's going to be some combat. Hence, why I put some of the Dead Space in there, because I love Dead Space's combat. But not a lot. Like in Alien Isolation, you had combat, but it wasn't the
I fucking
focus.
hated Alien Isolation, but
Yeah, fair enough. But it's more creating that feeling of you finding what's around you and using it to help you survive. So
okay.
I'm also thinking of there's probably will be a minimal crafting system. Hence again Dead Space, because I love the crafting system. But again, that would focus more on the gear aspect as opposed to the weapons.
Okay, keep the
So
gameplay down to like a
Yeah.
thing, because that's a whole other category.
Yeah, so it's more you running around and being like, do I try to use weapons on these things, or do I conserve the ammo because I don't know when the next ammo box I'm going to find is? So it's more, okay, pick your times to run. Do I stealth? Do I go straight for it?
Okay,
Oh,
all I need is the inspirations of fear and despair and stuff. I don't need to know like the gameplay stuff.
Well, all that goes into how is it going to be more survival horror. But okay, fair enough.
I needed to know like what's gonna create feelings. That's it.
Yeah.
Like,
That-
okay, anyway.
Yeah, all of that, and obviously, because it's movie property, obviously there's that movie tie-in too, so people will get that from it as well.
Okay, that's another category. Just don't.
Well, it's not my fault. Your first category incorporates everything.
Yeah, that is kind of a vague category. He's right.
I just needed the basis. I just needed simple and sweet.
When you should have just said, what is the premise of your game? That's what you should
I
have
don't
said.
want the premise. I just want like some of the inspirations that'll make people terrified.
Which is everything else in the game, unfortunately. It's the sounds, it's the gameplay, it's the fact that it's a movie property, so a lot of
Okay.
like the audio stuff will be coming from the movie. It's everything makes the experience. You can't just say the experience is separate from everything else.
I'm not just saying it, but I just wanted to know, like, just list off a few elements. But it's cool. You got it. You overdid it. Jim.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Give me one.
I'm not taking any points off you, Jeff, for like that because obviously you didn't like.
Marcus.
So whatever, you Asian dude. Like seriously, I don't know. I just don't want you to feel bad because I didn't take anything off of you because you didn't exactly know how this first question was gonna
go. Okay then.
Okay, so simple and sweet. Just tell me things that will make your game like scary or create tension.
Okay then. First of all, I will just say I just gave her the link, so I don't know if she's in here yet. But it was hi, Queen of Hearts. She messaged me. But anyway, yes. So in my case, so what do you want? You want like things that make it scary? What was your vague category?
Yeah, things that make it scary. Like he had darkness and uncertainty and like the atmosphere, and that was his. But
the thing is, there's one thing you do have to realize, Pew. That's every survival horror game. That's what makes it a survival horror game.
Not necessarily. You can have isolation. No. You can have it completely. You can make it scary by making your character completely defenseless and having absolutely no weapons and only be able to hide. You can. I'm just talking about like those kind of elements here. Like you can make your character a child, so child, has like completely vulnerable. That could also make it scary. Like things like that.
Yeah, mine is all of the above.
You're done. Do you forget you're done?
Very minimalistic in weapons.
You're done.
You have kids and adults.
Yeah,
you have
you're
the
done.
music. No, because your category is terrible.
Okay, you know what? I'm sorry, but you're done now. Jim, please, I want to hear your game. Already wrote down your stuff.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, it's like you can't even hear. But seriously, Jim, now go.
Okay then. Mine features a lot of the same elements.
Okay, please list said elements in there.
Okay. First of all, I will say for the record.
Maybe you can go for themes, or I'm just trying to give you any ideas.
No, I got you. I will start off by saying, you might not be able to relate to this as strongly as say Marcus or I would, because you're not as into the franchise as we are. But I'm calling this Star Trek Assimilation.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
And the themes would be things like I will say, base concept: Deep Space Nine gets invaded by Borg. You're a survivor on the station. Don't get assimilated. So there'll be things like with the Borg, the power in the station is going to be knocked out, so there'll be darkness in some parts of the station.
Threats of darkness.
There will be some amounts of isolation because obviously some people have evacuated, but not everybody. So you don't know when you're going to run into people or where. So there'll be parts of it where you're alone and parts of it where you might run into other people. But if you run into other people, they could be Borg. So you never really know if running into other people is a good thing or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of cool. I guess to some extent whether you can defend yourself or not, because the Borg can adapt to weaponry. So yeah, you might have a phaser, but it may or may not be useful against a given Borg, because if you fired it too many times, they just adapted and your weapon is now useless unless you remodulate it or find a new weapon. So that's a whole other thing, is whether or not your weapons are going to be effective against the Borg. And basically whether you're going to survive and whatnot. That's pretty. I guess I'm kind of like some of the same stuff that Marcus mentioned, pretty much, just different setting.
Okay. I'm giving you both a point for there, and I'm just going to give the first one to Jeff.
Okay. As a reminder, I don't know if you want to do this, Pew, but the way the others did it is, in addition to who won each round, Mo would give each of us an actual score out of like 5 or 10 or whatever he was using, because that way, in the event that because given that there are if there is end up being a tie, if we get to the end and it looks like there is some kind of a tie, because we end up with an even number, that way based on the actual scores you gave us, that would determine a victor over how many times.
Okay, I just had 3, you had 2.
You didn't have to tell us.
Oh, okay.
You just hold on to it if you need it. You don't have to tell us.
Oh, okay.
So basically you're making Star Trek Borg Experience the video game?
Hey, off my paper. Okay,
which,
so
mind you, would be fucking awesome, but
I don't know that much about Borg Experience, so no.
Me neither.
Okay. So okay, 2 question categories.
Yes.
How are you going to make your character relatable or make players want to protect them besides just beating the game? Because if you don't really give a shit about your character, then, well, you don't really, like, you know, are you going to be afraid or relate to them or even be more experienced into the game and, you know, want to protect them and maybe you'll have better ingenuity for it or whatever. You have to super care about them or get you into the experience.
For my game, because it is basically the movie adaptation.
Oh, this is your own part, just to let you know, where you tell me either first person, third person, multiple characters, single character, that kind of thing as well.
Third person.
Okay.
Just like Dead Space and Alien Isolation, like
third person
shooter style.
Increase the or work for you in your favor of it being horror, survival horror?
I don't know that first or third person would necessarily work in favor or against a survival horror. It's more dependent on the gameplay itself and the playstyle you're going for. Like, for instance, with this game, because it's Jurassic Park, there's also going to be almost like a simplified, like, Uncharted/Tomb Raider-esque style to it. There's going to be climbing and platforming and stuff because, again, Jurassic Park. But in terms of the character, first of all, you're basically going to be playing all the primary characters from Jurassic Park.
So there's multiple characters.
Yeah, you're going to be able to switch between them. But the reason you'll care about them is because you're a fan of Jurassic Park. I mean, that's kind of what I'm going for here.
So you're relying on the Jurassic Park fan base. So basically, if you haven't played Jurassic Park, this probably wouldn't appeal to you.
Yeah, if you haven't read it or seen it, you know. I mean, it would still be a fun survival horror game, so you might like it in that respect. But no, a lot of why you would care about the character, like you're tied to the character, wouldn't be there. But you run into that. That's the situation you run into with any kind of movie tie-in game because you are relying on said movie or said, you know, IP that you're adapting to make the people care about that character, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You know, obviously, you know, the strength of said movie or book's writing as well, because obviously you're adapting the story and stuff from the IP, so that will also play into it because even if, like, say, for instance, even if you haven't seen the movie, if it's been written well and acted well, when it translates to the adaptation, if I adapt what was in the movie well, or if, you know, the studio does it well, then you will care about the characters throughout the course of the story because then the movie makers and the writers and stuff have done their job. But in terms of out of the gate, yeah, I'm relying on you having known what Jurassic Park is and like the characters in Jurassic Park and whatnot.
Okay, so it's just primarily just, hey, this movie exists. Care.
Pretty much.
Okay. So, Jim? Jim?
Jim.
Yes, I'm here.
Your turn. Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
If you didn't remember, just like tell me first person, third person, multiple characters, single character, you know, and I don't know, any reason why you'd want to care extra for this character.
Why we should care.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, third person, I feel like that'd be more convenient. I don't like first person games that much personally. I'll just take that out, so I usually prefer third person. Although I could see this working in a first person position as well.
Man, first person horror games are the best because it's you happening to you. Okay, but continue.
True.
I mean, I wouldn't buy your game, but you know.
You could swap between third and first in this game. How about that? Will that be easier?
No, I'm not gonna. I can't change it now, but you know, I'm just saying I probably wouldn't buy neither of your games. But you know.
I'll screw you too.
I don't think first person would work for a survival horror, really.
Are you kidding me? Freaking Amnesia Descent to Darkness, best horror game ever. Get the fuck off your high horse and play that game. I'm sorry.
But play that.
Seriously. Exactly. As I said, get off your fucking high horse and play that game. Anybody. Amnesia Descent to Darkness. Holy fucking shit. Scare your fucking balls off. Anyway, continue.
Same could be said about Resident Evil, but okay.
At least that knew when to quit. But anyway, continue.
Okay then. Anyway, so first to third person, whatever the hell I said.
Third.
Okay, fine. There was it, and basically, the reason you would care about this particular character is because one thing that I think, given the possibilities of giving this as Deep Space Nine, is the ability to customize your character at the opening of the game for who you would like your character to be and how that might affect your ability to survive on the
So
station.
you create your own character, so you are essentially your character.
Something like that. There,
I like that.
some basic design elements. Maybe not, it's not gonna be like WWE wrestler, create a superstar good, but it might be okay. Choose a hair color, choose a gender, hair color, whatnot, and you can choose occupations that might, because there's a lot of different people on Deep Space Nine. You might be a Starfleet officer in any of the departments, security, engineering, science, whatever. You might be somebody.
Whatever.
You might be somebody from Bajor who works on the station who would obviously react differently than a Starfleet officer. You might be a civilian who's there working in one of the shops, like one of the restaurants or like tail shop or whatever. You might be somebody whose ship was visiting Deep Space Nine during the attack, you might be a Klingon or a Cardassian, or maybe not a Cardassian, they don't like them that much, but you might be somebody from another race who's visiting and you got separated from your ship when the attack went down. I mean, any number of things that would affect how you would react to things and what kind of skills you would have that would be beneficial to you going forward. And of course, you give your character a name because that's easy to do. So basically, the character would be something literally your own creation. Therefore, you'd want to survive because hey, it's you. Why wouldn't you want to survive with that?
Okay.
And like I said, based on what you choose, that's going to determine the abilities that you have that might benefit you later. Like if you're an engineer, you might.
Okay.
Oh, is there another category?
Yeah, there's a whole category for gameplay. So
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so this round is gonna go to Jim.
Booyah!
All right. Now because before everybody loses their shit, I'm gonna go straight to the gameplay one. I was gonna say, how does your character interact with your environment or adversities, and how will that make it scary, or make it horror, or increase the horror, survival horror elements?
So gameplay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as I alluded to before, there's going to be lots of gameplay here. From depending, of course, on which character you switch to, because each character is going to have different abilities. Like, I know you haven't seen the movie up here, so I'll go over this. Like, for instance, Lexi, the girl, she's a computer hacker, so she'd have the ability to hack through systems and like get shit open or lock shit up, stuff like that. The boy is a pretty good climber, so he'd be able to climb things, and that will add to the gameplay of, okay, do I approach things from above or below? And of course, them being kids, they may have access to smaller areas.
Also, just make sure to tell me how this will make it like survival horror. Just like,
because you'll have the ability to manipulate or otherwise interact with the environment to keep yourself safe. Like, for instance, with Lexi, you might be able to say, like, hack a door system to like lock a door so dinosaurs can't get in, or if you're using the kid, he may be able to access an area that someone else can't access to get them into a safer location or something like that. And then of course, you have like the adults, like say Dr. Grant, he may be able to somewhat adequately fend off some of the smaller dinosaurs because adult male. And he's also a dinosaur expert, so he may be able to see things or do other things that the other characters can't do. It would be all integrated into what their characters are. But like I said before, there'd be a crafting thing where, okay, so this is what I envisioned. With the weapons, you can't craft weapons. You have to find them along the way, so they'll be few and far between. What you can do on the crafting table, as you collect things to craft, is you can modify your weapons if you want, or taking some of the same materials, you might use that to craft other survival implements, like med packs, or ammo for the weapon instead of modifying it, or a lockpick or something like that. So you have to actually pick and choose how you want to use your materials.
Will they be unlimited supply? I mean,
no, you'd have to find them in the wild, which would be
plenty. Yeah, that's why I said unlimited supply, as in you don't get free reloads, as in you have to go find them yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
You have to choose whether to go out and find them, or maybe stay and go wherever you need to go, because who knows what the other thing is there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That is exactly it.
Because the whole scary element's what we're going for.
Right, and then like I said, you have your indoor-outdoor environments, because most of the park is an outdoor park because giant-ass dinosaurs. So lots of lush jungle with fences in, and so you have to go around there and avoid dinosaurs. You'd always have a point that you need to get to, obviously an objective, and then it'd be up to you whether you want to go for that objective or not, or whether you want to explore. And then of course where you can explore in the park is also dependent on who you have with you in that party. And so that's the other aspect is because in this movie, the main characters are split up most of the time. And so you'd be able to switch between the two teams. So like maybe the team that's trapped in the center can help the team who's out in the field gain access to certain areas. And so you could swap between that. And then, of course, the team in the center, their entire goal is get the power back on so we have security. And out in the field, you have to be wary of that, too, because as you're walking around, like I said, there's big fences, which can be electrified. Now, when the power's off, obviously it's not. But you never know when it comes up, and then you just get electrified off the fence if you're climbing it. But it'd be a pretty open world, good exploration, but you always have to be fearful for your life because you never know what's going to come at you, and you need to make sure you're outfitted properly, and if you're not, you need to run the hell away. So you need to approach each situation based on how you've outfitted yourself, either through what you find in the field or what you craft and who you've got with you. Now, of course, at the end game, you'll have everybody with you as you're getting ready to make the big escape. And at that point, you have one massive team. You can just go around and explore if you want, but you still have to watch out for the dinosaurs because they can and will hunt your ass. So, yeah, very, very massive, varied gameplay, different mini games, different climbing, platforming, stealth, a lot of stealth, obviously, survival. You're not going to be fighting your way through everything. So, yeah.
All right, cool. Jim?
You sound so thrilled. Also, I feel like I need to ask Marcus. Can I conveniently use my skills to make the Raptors do what I want to save the day?
That's not until the 4th iteration called Jurassic World.
Fair enough.
Although at that point, it would not be a survival horror, but okay.
No comment.
Nah.
Just continue, Jeff. Continue, Mo.
Mo's not here.
Oh, sorry, Jim. Sorry.
Do I sound British to you? What the hell?
No, I'm sorry. I almost mistaked you for people who have good ideas. So continue.
Oh.
Continue.
Ouch. Okay then. What the hell's the category again?
Okay, basically gameplay, and how is that going to actually add to this horror survival. I'm going to put the word horror in front. Horror survival game. Horror. Sorry.
Yes, we got it. We know you're a whore. Anyway.
Just because I feel like that element's been, it kind of ignored a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Horror.
Well, just because not having anything doesn't make you scared doesn't make it horror, Pew.
Just continue. Okay. Keep going.
Yeah. So, in terms of gameplay for mine, like I said, you would have predetermined exactly who your character is in terms of at least the occupation and why they're on the station, and that would affect the skills they have, which would affect the things you might be able to do in order to survive and not get assimilated by the Borg, who are swarming everywhere, and you might, like I said, they could be anywhere and might be your friends or whoever. You don't know who's been assimilated, but anyway. So, for example, let's say you're a security officer. You might have a better idea of exactly how to fight the Borg in direct combat. You might survive longer if you have to fight them in direct combat, and that might be more likely to be your choice if your character might have better skills in that. And that might be more likely to be your choice if you have to get past them rather than trying to sneak around. It might be better to fight your way through. Whereas somebody who is, say, an engineer might be more likely to, say, jury-rig something to explode in the room to distract them and get around them. Whereas a science officer might use some type of a biological agent if maybe they have a med kit or a science kit on. They can make a smoke thing in there to get through. Different ways that you might get around the Borg or fight the Borg. Engineers might be able to hack computers to open other passageways that others can't take to get around things. Science officers might be able to. If they find people who are, maybe if you're a doctor, you might find somebody who's hurt but hasn't been assimilated. You might be able to heal them, and they might be able to provide you with useful information or help you along your way. So, stuff like that. All kinds of variety depending on who your character is and what you chose their abilities to be. And that might also determine what equipment you have that you can use. Like I said, if you're a doctor, you might have a med kit. If you're security, you might have some extra weapons. If you're a civilian, you might not have anything. And that might be an extra challenge if you have nothing on you and just using what you find. That could be a whole nother to do. So it's really dependent on how you personalize the character is going to determine exactly what you can do. As generally speaking, your goal is basically just run around and survive the Borg and inevitably find a way off the station, whether that is finding a working escape pod, whether it's finding a ship, whether it is getting a transporter functional, whatever it might be. It's find a way, and if a transporter, you have to obviously beam somewhere. I don't think people can beam directly to Bajor from the station. I could be wrong. That might be closer.
Sure they can.
Okay, then maybe you can beam down to Bajor, but just basically get off the station somehow. And one other thing I did want to add in for the sake of, and I tried to connect it a little bit to make it a little more, a little more canon, just a little bit, and maybe have a method of, something that might be, something potentially useful might be an alternate goal that might, divide you in terms of your gameplay goals. I'd imagine that, in order to make this make sense, because obviously, if there were a real Borg attack, the senior staff would run around and kick ass because this is Star Trek and the main characters have to win because that's how Star Trek works. But I figure, okay, the Starfleet crew was on the Defiant. They were off doing something when this happened. They're not here. But somebody has to be in charge of the station, and most logically, given how they normally run this, I would imagine Commander, Captain, whatever the hell her rank is now, Kira is probably running the station. I don't remember what the hell rank she was at the current time.
Yeah.
But anyway, because she went into Starfleet and she left Starfleet and she went back to Starfleet, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Anyway, so I would say she's in charge, and maybe she locked ops down to keep ops protected, and so maybe she's on ops, and occasionally if you can, particularly if you're an engineer, maybe you can get a communication console working, and Kira can feed you information from ops that, okay, I know the Borg are here, you might not want to go this way, or oh, the Borg are here, but you could do this. Maybe she'll give you a tip now and again, not frequently. Maybe once if you've gotten to a new area, once every so often, maybe you can find a way just to know that she's there. Maybe an alternative goal will be, oh, maybe you should get up there and save Kira before you try to save your own ass. And maybe that could be an alternate goal, but not required, and maybe that would affect how you'd play. Alternate possibility: do you go save other people? Do you save yourself? So on and so forth. And I can, of course, not get assimilated because you don't want to be assimilated.
Okay, that one is gonna go to Jim.
Fair enough.
FICO. Resistance.
Okay.
It's futile.
Okay, now, very important part. This is where, what kind of music, sound effects, or if you choose to include voice acting in your game. I'm looking for instruments. I don't need names of, actors necessarily, but as much as, will there, won't there be, how much, and, sound effects and stuff like that.
Well, obviously, the beautiful John Williams score, they'd have to use that because it's Jurassic Park. So you'll get that, obviously, at the theme. But then I would probably hire another composer to do an additional score work for this, for everything else, because we're obviously expanding from Jurassic Park. So, you would need no creepy-ass music as you're creeping through the woods, or, different, but equally creepy-ass music as you're going through the buildings and stuff. Obviously sounds, ambient jungle sounds, as if you were creeping through dinosaur jungles, and then dinosaur roars, and obviously growls and roars and other assorted noises for dinosaurs that actually do attack you, because you'll actually be attacked because.
Oh, I'll also mention, I think there's a thing in here that you're supposed to do, you have a special secret thing that if someone mentions, that's the bonus thingy.
Some of us have done that, yes. You can have
I have one, and it's in this category, so.
We don't necessarily tell us what category it's in. You can just.
Well, you're not going to get it anyway because you guys suck, but I'm telling you to give you a hand.
Fair enough. But yeah, so there'll be the sort of noises, obviously, for the creatures you face. In terms of voice acting, there will be archival voice work from the movie, obviously, especially considering, say, Richard Attenborough has passed away, so you can't actually get him to come in and do other voice work, and characters that, died in the movie, obviously they're not going to come back to do extra voice work because their characters are going to die. But I envision, say, a lot of the main characters, shall we say, I imagine them coming back to do voice work, like Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and stuff like that, to, enrich the experience from when you're doing the expanded stuff, when you're looking around the island and stuff. In terms of sound effects, the sound effects are going to be kind of minimal because I think it's far more scarier if you're walking around and you hear fucking nothing and then something comes out at you. And it makes sense if you're creeping around through a facility that's got no power, through jungles in the night, especially if you're dealing with predators, they're not going to make a sound until they get up on you. So you might hear some like little crickets or some little brays in the wind here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be silent, and all you'll hear is like your footsteps and you, like say, moving plants aside or manipulating stuff, or if you're in the facility, beep 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 beep, computer equipment, whatnot. But for the most part, I envision it being mostly silent to convey that feeling of shit. When's the next thing gonna jump out at me? And combined with the fact you're not gonna have much stuff, you're just like, oh crap. But in terms of the rest of the voice work, I imagine just hire some of the good voice actors and actresses out there who can pull off some of the voices to do some of the extra stuff. Like, primarily the one I'm thinking of is the actor for Tim, the little boy, because he's like fucking my age now or older, so since the movie his balls have dropped, so he's not going to sound like the little kid. So I imagine get like a voice actor who could do the little kid voice for him.
You could
that
just
sounds
told
like
me
him.
that he is a little kid, because I don't even know who you're talking about. So like, it doesn't even matter how old he is.
Yeah, Tim was the little kid. He was the younger brother of Lexi. Lexi could probably still do it because in the movie she was like a teenager, so I imagine her voice hasn't changed that much in her maturity. So she could probably still do it, unless she sounds like a really old woman, then probably not. But I think she's only like, again, my age, so she would be fine. But
So
I don't
he's
think
like 600.
I don't think the boy would be able to do it, just because his voice is so different now. He probably wouldn't be able to get down into that register, which is why professional voice actor, you could probably find, some actually voice actress who could probably do that voice just fine. And for most of them, if you can hire them, if you can get them, and if you can afford them, I would say bring back the original voice cast.
Are they the A-Team now?
What?
Oh,
if you can find them, and if you can hire them, if you can afford them.
If you can find them, if you can afford them, and if you can hire them, you might call the Jurassic Park cast.
All right, that was actually really good. I'm impressed. Jim.
Okay. All right, so this one is say the category again.
Basically, what kind of elements you to use for sound, voice acting if you choose to use it, sound effects, basically any kind of noise-making thing in your game, or lack of noise for that matter.
Or lack thereof. Fair enough. Well, there would be some probably minimal voice acting, because there's not going to be a lot of people around necessarily. It's mostly going to be you trying to survive the Borg. You might run into some random people, so there might be some random, a little bit of dialogue here and there. Oh, I found somebody, I'm going to help them up, or if they're not assimilated, I might, help them.
Who would you be talking to if you said that?
What do you mean?
You just said, "Oh, I have to help these people," or blah blah blah.
No,
blah.
I didn't. That's not the actual line of dialogue. I'm saying.
Okay.
In terms of if you you might see somebody, you might go help them, and then if you find other allies, you might find, depending on where you go, you might find a few people that are still around that aren't assimilated that could help you. You might not. It depends. Obviously there'll be a few generic voices of some generic Borg voices. You will be assimilated, resistance, just futile. Some generic Borg voices. That might occasionally echo throughout the corridors. So like, oh God, I hear the Borg. Where are they? Where are they? You never know.
You would have the Nana visitor.
Yeah, I would have Nana visitor to being Kira on the bridges, have her do some occasional dialogue that might pop out of a speaker if you could get one working at a comm panel. So maybe she can provide advice now and again. That'd be the only name voice actor. Otherwise, it would just be some generic. And like I said, there would be some areas of quiet within this station, but in a lot of areas you would have that red alert clack song going on, that red alert alarm going off in the background. Not loud enough to annoy. Not loud enough to annoy you, because I fucking hate that, but loud enough that it's there and there's the red light flashing like red alert, because the Borg, fucking like everywhere, like wrecking shit. So yeah, that's gonna be going on. Although some areas will likely have lost power because Borg are everywhere and taking over probably not just people, but they're probably trying to assimilate the computers of the system. So some shit will be down. So you might end up in some areas where it's just completely quiet because they shut everything down in that area, and you're just kind of walking around like, oh, it's creepy. What's going on here? You're like, it's that silence. You don't know, are the Borg going to come around a corner? Is the person there? What's going to happen? Type thing. That's it's going to vary depending on where in the ship you are and exactly how far the Borg have assimilated in that area of the ship. And the other thing that's creepy about the Borg and that type of thing is you might have that noise of just that noise of Borg walking around, because in a lot of instances the Borg won't try to assimilate you if you're not a threat. So you could theoretically, find an area where the Borg have taken over a portion of the station and just kind of quietly, walk through like you're looking side to side, like, oh god, are they going to see me? Are they going to attack me? You don't know if they're going to turn around and start attacking you, or if you're going to be able to walk through safely. And it's just that, just the sounds of them working on whatever, just as you're just walking through, and just that's it. It's like, ooh, are they going to attack me? That kind of thing. So, enough that's going to be creepy. That. There's going to be some areas of silence, some areas where there's some generic sound effects of the Borg moving around, some generic Borg voices, and maybe a few people here and there, and then a visitor for Kira, just because we want to explain why there's, nobody running the freaking station, because the senior staff wouldn't have left and left everybody to die. So Kira being there makes sense, and that'll be about the extent of it. You don't need a whole lot, because it's more about, am I going to survive the Borg? It's more about your planning and less about, on a lot of sound, because a lot of sound just kind of ruins a survival horror game, even though I never played one. That seems to be the general consensus.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he done?
I am done.
Okay, that one goes to Jeff.
Nice. I
So
applaud.
yeah, that's 2 and 2. All right.
I'm a motherfucker too.
And the tiebreaker. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
all right.
how will you market this game and get people to play it?
If it was coming out now, that'd be very, very, very easy. It's Jurassic Park. Jurassic World is one of the most popular movies in the last year. People would eat that shit up. And also, Jurassic Park is a very good movie. It's a classic movie. It's very popular. So, if I come out and say Jurassic Park survival horror video game, that alone sells itself.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is you would put like an ad on TV. Would you put it in the movies when like a Jurassic Park was coming out, or like?
Yeah, I'd probably run some theater ads because it's Jurassic Park. I would also run, obviously, TV ads. I would run magazine ads. I would do like everything the video games do now. I would run, I would promote it at like conventions or whatever, especially E3. Also, because I know how popular it is, I did factor this in. I have it being developed actually by my Creative Assembly, the people who made Alien Isolation. So if I go out and if I go to like the video game people and say, first of all, Jurassic Park survival horror video game, then I say, by the way, developed by Creative Assembly, that alone is going to generate a ton of buzz. But yeah, I would market the hell out of this because it has such great marketability. I would take every opportunity I could. Anything that comes my way is like, yeah, you can, advertise your stuff here. Totally do it. WWE, that's a great way to advertise your stuff in today's age, today's society. But yeah, definitely want to do, tie in with the movie stuff because it is a movie tie-in type game. I would totally just market that. I would do a viral marketing campaign. I would totally do a huge online marketing campaign. Yeah.
So like that's a lot of money you're spending. Maybe like the Destiny of.
For Jurassic Park, you need to kind of spend that. It's worth it to spend that kind of money to market the hell out of it.
Okay, just keep in mind you need money for like actually making the game.
Yeah. Well, I'm expecting to make that money back.
Aren't they always?
Yeah, and remember, if the strike goes through, you're going to need money to pay residuals to the voice actors, apparently.
The strike.
I'll tell you about it after the recording.
No, you will read the link I send you after the recording, and then you're allowed to do other things after that.
I will write a link and I will explain it. Don't worry.
No. I'm going to send you a link about proper survival horror games after this.
Okay, that's fine. That's not what we're talking about here. But anyway.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but it's mandatory that you must know.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Fair enough. But yeah, I would.
And also,
obviously, I wouldn't. Oh, go ahead.
As a counterpoint, I have an excuse. I've never played a survival horror game, so I have an excuse. He doesn't.
Actually, you did very well, Jim. Don't sell yourself short. But
yeah, you actually 2 for 2, so don't worry about it.
But yeah, like I said, obviously I wouldn't go crazy and do all the marketing all at once, but I would be looking for those opportunities, and I'd be focusing again on probably on the video game side of it's like E3, big stuff like that, and try to market it through movies because it's a movie tie-in. Those are the 2 big ones that I would do.
Mm-hmm. Both of you, seriously, like it's like $3, $5. So Amnesia: Descent of Darkness on Steam.
Fair enough.
Anyway, good. So anyway, Jim, your turn.
Okay. So for marketing this, it's a Star Trek property. That's pretty easy to market to the Star, because people who like Star Trek will pretty much buy or at least try anything Star Trek. So mostly, if I was going to promote this as a sort of thing, I would probably, given this is going to be aimed at fans of the what I would refer to as the main Star Trek timeline, not like the Abramsverse crap. Not that it's crap, but it's not as good in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there. Although, if you were to release it, say, next year when the next Abrams movie came out, that would only help in promotion, but that's not
I'm looking
necessary.
for it on mediums.
Okay. Well, one thing I think I would definitely do with this is to try to get people is, much like Marcus said, probably promoting at conventions and things. Probably there's the big Star Trek conventions that are constantly happening everywhere. In particular, get it out there. I would probably definitely get it out there via internet advertising. Have ads on YouTube, run ads in some things like, for example, Star Trek Online. You've already got a big Star Trek video game fan base there. Maybe if the developers are on good terms with each other, maybe you could stick an ad for it in there, or at least on their website somewhere where the people who play that game would see it. Put it out there on the Star Trek forums, then the Star Trek Online fandom, because most of the Star Trek Online fandom is on. I should say the Star Trek fandom in general is online. So between that and the conventions, you pretty much get it out there to the people who are Star Trek fans. That's who you're targeting this toward. You're probably not going to get any non-Star Trek fans playing this. That's just how it is. It's kind of geared toward the Star Trek fans. And maybe a few survival horror fans might jump in now and then, but it's mostly going to be the Star Trek fans, because if you're not a Star Trek fan, you might not see the horror threat that the Borg might pose. But if you've actually seen things like the Best of Both Worlds in Next Gen, First Contact, if you've seen some involving the Borg, you know how fucking terrifying the Borg are. So, yeah, mostly marketing that way. That is what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
I would also say maybe not knowing what the Borg are would make it even more terrifying, because then you don't know that the way they act is, unless they see you as a threat, they attack. So you'll be walking through like, well, why didn't they attack me? What the hell? And then they'll just attack you out of nowhere if you do even the littlest thing. You're like, wait, what the fuck just happened?
True, but at the same time, you have to get them to want to play the game in the first place. And as seemingly from Pew's reactions here, given that she's not a Star Trek fan like we are, I think that she likes the concepts that I'm putting out there, but I don't think she really knows the Borg, and that's why she doesn't totally see that as survival horror.
I'm just imagining like Alien Isolation, despite how shitty that game is, or at least I personally hated it. But there's like robot things that are super fucking creepy there, and they're like these little weird face people, and they kind of go choom choom.
Little
choom.
weird face people. Okay.
Well, like they have like a fucking face, but it's not like attached to anything, and it's just like a face mask, and then the back of it's like empty, and it has like little like arms and like like legs that go around that aren't like attached, like a fucking Rayman thing. Basically, they're just fucking creepy as shit robots.
Wait,
let's make this easy for you. Think Cyborg from Teen Titans in all black, and his skin is pasty white.
Yeah, I'll make it. I'll make it even easier. I'll make it even easier because I think I'm relatively sure, given that they crossed over once in the comics, this is close enough. Basically, imagine slightly creepier looking Cybermen. They're basically the Borg are weird. They're basically people who are.
Cybermen are adorable, so that's gonna be
the concept is they turn other people into.
I got the idea. Just creepy ass robots.
Yeah, basically they're people that they're not necessarily robots, because they're actually people you might know. That's the thing. What the Borg do is they show up and they basically inject you with a nanite virus, and the nanite virus basically installs like mechanical shit on you and turns you into a Borg, and you all become part of a collective consciousness, and you lose all sense of self.
That's cool.
So you can be walking through the ship, and all of a sudden, people that you talked to earlier in the game that like was somebody that helped you, all of a sudden is a Borg attacking you, like you don't know.
That's cool. All right. So are you done?
I are done.
Okay. Okay, that was the last category. And I have to give it to Jim. And don't be super hurting, Marcus, because you literally lost by 1 point, and I mean not as in 1 point as in 1 rank point, but I mean as in 1 point as in for each thing you guys mentioned that I liked in a series. I gave you 1 point, and you only lost by 1. So that's more if you were if he was 100, you'd be 98. So it was really fucking close.
Points.
You just said like 9 times in one sentence.
That's
you know what? I'm just trying to compare the information in my head out through my mouth to you. It's not easy for me.
Okay. Well, to relay this information, what was the bonus we didn't get?
The bonus you got that I tried to get Jim to say because he basically already got it, and I would have helped you, Jeff, if you were anywhere near it, but you weren't. So,
Marcus.
Yeah,
Okay, whatever.
yeah. Sorry, I just but like it's self narration.
Oh, damn.
It's like, because before when you were like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm like, who would you be talking to, huh? Huh?
See,
Huh?
but that'd be an impossibility with Jim's game because as a created character, that's the one character that wouldn't have a voice.
Hey, they could totally have generic voice, whatever. Commander
Yeah,
Shepard
I mean,
had.
technically speaking, you could pull it off if you could do it like what was the game right there? Like in the earlier WWE games where they gave you like 5 generic voices to pick from.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You could
saying. You could
have like
have
2 or 3. They could have like 2 or 3 female voices and 2 or 3 male voices depending on your gender, and just pick one. You know, they could always do something like that. But then they'd have to have like they had to pay 6 people to all record the same dialogue through the whole game, and that might
you
cost a
could
lot
just
of
have
money.
like
So
2, like the freaking first Mass Effect have male voice, female voice.
you could do that too.
But yeah, you guys did actually really good. Now I'm gonna send you something magical so you can read it. And super awesome. Thank you guys for listening to this, and it was very educational for both me and hopefully everybody else. So, so thanks. And Jim can like do whatever he does when stuff is over.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. I should just mention briefly. We have to talk to Chris the Mole, the course creator and founder of this program. There may not be any punch starters for the duration of the year, given that we have a lot of holiday specials we're going to need to record between Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's a lot of holidays in a row, and there's a lot of special things we're going to want to do in the coming months. There was a suggestion by Mole that perhaps we should shelve Punch Starter until the new year, so that we can get through everything we need to do for the end of the year here, and then come back into that later. That would give us an extra recording slot for things that might need to get done. Particularly, we got a lot of things that. Of course, Anastasia has a new secondary job she's working, and so her availability is very iffy. So having an extra slot to record things might be beneficial going into this. So there will be an official announcement coming out. We'll let you know how we decide to proceed with that, and whether we decide to have the Punch Starter next month or not. If we do have it next month, Marcus Shadow will be the host. If not, Marcus Shadow will be the host whenever we resume, as far as I know.
If you're in the Monroe area, and if you don't know where Monroe is, it doesn't matter to you. Come to the Pierce Terrace Screen Park and watch me scare you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm deliberately leaving it vague, so if you only know what I'm already talking about, you'll be there, so that way you won't come find me.
Yeah.
How can they see you scare them?
Because if you already know what I'm talking about and you know about this said area, you can come there. But if you don't know, then I don't want you to travel from really far away to come, find me, because that's creepy.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Anastasia Lazerbeam is afraid of fanboys.
I'm not afraid of fanboys, I just don't have time for that shit.
Fair enough.
I have enough as it is. All these fucking people who work here are like 16 years old. It's like, oh wow, I've never seen an older woman before. This is super hot. Yeah. I'm like, okay. If 10 years older counts as older, because I'm like 26 and they're like 16, but yeah.
That does, to you, yes. That to them, you are an older woman. Yes, that would count.
Indeed.
It's weird. It's like these little Justin Bieber shits. But go ahead.
Nice.
Literally, so many people have the actual haircut.
Lovely.
Yeah, just like to you, I would be classified as an older man. Because I am 10 years
600's old for anyone.
Yeah, you're classified as an older man to everybody in existence.
The reason you chose Jurassic Park is because that way you can have your relatives can be in it. You know? All those dinosaurs and...
Wow. Alright, take us out, Jim.
Alright, thanks everybody. We'll see you for the next Punch Starter. And if you got nothing to do for the rest of the night and you're a wrestling fan, we'll be doing X Marks with our good friend Richter Hammer in about an hour. Stay tuned. Hang out with us. We'll see you there. Peace.